Hello, everybody. It's Amy. I'm here. I'm waiting for my other camera to get fixed. So you're going to just look at this at the moment. Okay. So how is everybody today? Hold on. Somebody's calling me. It's Anthony. Sorry, Aunt. All right. So anyhow, so welcome. And what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be having some fun with a thumb tack, which I just had. How about that? We're going to have fun with some thumbtacks today because we are going to be sewing in circles. Back up a little bit. There we go. So we've got a thumbtack. We've got a little tape measure. You're going to need some painter's tape. That's Ed annoying us. You're going to need some painter's tape. And the fabric and things that we're using today, we are using craft tex or fusible Timtex. And look how cute this fabric is. This is a card fabric. You're going to say, well, Amy, what are we making with plain card fabric? We are making, look at this, little card holders. So if you have arthritis or if you have little people that you play cards with, it's an easy way for them to handle their playing cards. So now everybody can be part of the family card game, whether you like it or not. So it's going to be an easy project today. It's kind of fun. I'm excited about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to measure out. Hold on. I think. And so I'm going to measure out 2 inches. So this makes a 4-inch circle, right? These are 5-inch circles, which are kind of a little better size. So we need to be 2.5 inches from our needle. And it would help if I was in a straight stitch. There we go. So I measure out 2.5 inches. I put my needle down and I just put my tape measure up against it. Slide my thumbtack just right there. So it's parallel with my needle straight across. And I'm going to tape it in place. That's what I'm going to do. Now, this is heavier. If you have just regular, this is like more of a duct tape. If you just have painter's tape, make sure you use 2 or 3 layers so it doesn't get all caught up. So I have somewhere, did I leave mine on the ironing board? Here they are. Sorry. In the confusion of missing a camera, which everybody's working on. So I have a sandwich. Come on. All right, there it is. I didn't realize it was fixed. Okay, so here's what we got. We have 2 pieces of fabric, craft tex, and it's fusible. So I fused them together. Okay, so now this one just came apart because I pulled it. So when they spin and turn, they don't shift and pucker, while you're making your circle. So I'm going to take them and place it just, oh, that needle came unthreaded again. I'm just going to put it in the middle of my fabric. Now I'm going to give it a spin to make sure I'm not going to fall off the edge of my circle because I really didn't get dead center. And of course, my needle came unthreaded. That's what happened the other day, remember? I still haven't had Zach fix my needle threader yet. So let's see how we do today. Oh my gosh, there we go. That's better. Okay, so this is going to spin freely. I'm just going to put my foot control down. I'm going to bring my needle down, needle up, just to make sure my bobbin thread is handy. There it is. So I just picked a straight stitch, right? 2.5 on my stitch length, nothing huge there. And I'm just going to sew a circle. Okay, there we go. So you can just see how it spins all by itself. And all I'm doing is just kind of keeping the fabric from buckling. If you have a good fuse on yours, remember I peeled mine off, you won't have that issue. If you don't have the craft tex or the Timtex, by all means, you can use just something firm. And if you don't have anything fusible, a little bit of basting spray, anything along those lines. So I'm going to, oh, I know what I didn't do. Boop. I should have had a piece of tape on top of here, only because now when I put this back on here, I'm going to know where to go. So I have tape holding my thumbtack here, and I put a piece of tape in the middle of my circle. And I'm going to trim, oh boy, like a 1/16 of an inch next to my stitching line. You're going to trim it all the way around. So how is everybody today? Hi, Misty. We good? So finding a flathead thumbtack, I had the, you can go to the office supplies, but you want to make sure that tack is flat on the top, not just, not rounded, or you're going to run into all kinds of problems. So here's the next thing. We got to put it back on, and we want to put it exactly through that same hole. That's why we have that tape that we had that on top, so I can realign everything. Now, I'm just going to choose, you can choose a zigzag, a satin stitch. My width is 4.5 because I want it to be plenty. It's going to wrap around the back. I have matching thread top and bottom. That's so important. And I'm going to shorten my stitch length. Now you can go around it twice. I'm just going to do 0.5. And depends on your color, your contrast of your thread, how many times you're going to do this. So you're going to see it's going to do the same thing now. It's going to pivot on that pin. And I can see that it's not very, the thread is not very dense. So I'm just going to continue around, and then I'm going to shorten that stitch length again and make it satinier. Is that a word? Satinier. Hi, web family. Hello, Agnesto. So this is basically what you're just going to do. It's going to be magic. Absolute magic. So I'm only going to sew this once just for the sake of you guys like watching paint dry. You kind of get the idea. So I'm going to finish it so you can see how cool it finishes right where we left off. And then we're going to sew that button on by machine. Now, if you're making these, you got to make at least 8, I guess, right? Or how many people need them. I keep these in the drawer for the little boys. Cameron's old enough now to hold all his cards. Gage is getting there, except he's a little clumsy, so it kind of does help. So once you get to this other side, you're just going to hit your cut button. Leave this tape on if you want to go back and make a correction. And then you get this satin stitched edge. So here is the one that I finished. So you can see that's a lot more satiny, right? Matching thread top and bottom, that is the case. So you're going to make 2 of these, which I only made 1. So I have a big one and a little one, which I will tell you probably still is going to work. I got a little distracted today. There's a class going on, and I ended up helping prep some of the things for that. So I got a little off my kilter today, but that's okay. So you can hold these together. If you don't want to sew a button, right? So I just kind of did a button. I'm going to show you how to sew a button on by machine. If you do not want to sew a button on, you could just zigzag it and tack it in the middle. But since we're all that, so what we're going to do is we're going to sew a button on. I'm going to get rid of my tape. The bed of my machine now is covered in tape. So when it goes back to get that needle fixed, I'm going to tell the guys it needs a car wash too. That's for sure. All right. So I'm just going to go. You have choose your buttonhole menu. I'm sorry, I don't know if I may turn this so you can see if it makes it worse. So I go to my buttonhole menu, and it looks like a little piggy nose. It's a little round circle with 2 dots. It shows you this little foot with 2 little prongs. I'm not necessarily going to use that foot, but you have a button sewing foot. So all I'm going to do, let me switch this back. Sorry, I'm even down a camera today. I'm a mess today. Now I just lost my menu. Hold on. So when I select it, I'm on my Janome 15,000. When I select it, it automatically drops the feed teeth for me. It makes my selection so my tensions are correct. It does everything for me. So I'm just going to use the ankle on my foot. You can take the ankle off. I recommend a little bit of like wrapping paper tape. Do you know what I mean? Like Scotch, take a clear Scotch tape just to hold it in place. I'm just going to use a little bit of painter's tape, but I don't want to cover up my holes because I got to sew through them. Most buttonholes, the standard size between buttonholes is usually 3.5 millimeters. And I'm going to get this underneath here. And that's what it came up. And I'm just going to turn my hand wheel to make sure it falls in the holes. The last thing you want, so these are a little bigger, chunkier buttons. And I can tell you that I need a much wider zigzag. There we go. So my zigzag ended up being 5. So always do a test first. I'm going to sew. My machine does 7 passes, 7 zigzags, and then ties a knot. I'm going to do it one more time. And then use my cutter. So this button is never coming off. There's no way this button is ever coming off. So there it is. But now you're going to say, Amy, how are you going to sew a button on the other side? Because you can't sew. I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't sew through both holes at the same time and line everything up. So we're going to cheat. We're going to cheat. We're going to make a fake sewn button. So I just have, I'm going to bring my needle thread up for this, my bobbin thread up for this, sorry. This is just wash away stabilizer, right? Water soluble stabilizer. You could use paper if you want in the end. So I just double it up. I'm going to take my button and I'm going to sew it on here. I'm just sewing it on here. I'm going to make sure, again, those zigzags are just right so I don't bust anything. And you can stitch it twice if you want, just to match it. And I'm going to pop it off of here, just like that. Now it looks like I sewed my button on. I'm just going to put over here and put a little dot of glue. No one is ever going to know the difference that you did not stitch that button on. Because see the stitches? Perfect. And there it is. There's my little circles. So now all you have to do is take and line up your cards, and it's perfect for the little one. Actually, I will tell you, I like the big circle, little circle. So that is it. So this is 5 inches. This is 4 inches. All you're going to do is take your flathead thumbtack, measure over half the size of the circle you want to stitch, plop your fabric package on there, straight stitch, trim, put it back in the exact same hole. Remember, you're going to have a piece of tape on here too. The exact same hole. Once you put it in there, you put it back on, and you're going to, after you trim, to do your satin stitch. So that is, how simple is that? But if you, like for a senior center, for like your church, if they have older people that play with arthritis, it's hard to hold. This is super light, and the little ones love it because they have a gadget, right? They have something to play with. So we just use, you can use craft text, Tim text, anything it's firm, right? You can see these are pretty hard. A little bit of fabric. I fused them together, decided what size I wanted. I made 2 circles. I trimmed it. I zigzagged my circles all in the same thumbtack. And now I'm ready to play a game because it is the ho-ho holidays. Anybody have any questions? No, great. So, we have this great card fabric, but of course, for little ones, you can make it out of anything. And for those of you who embroider, you could put names on here, right? So just do your names before you do your circles. Embroider your fabric and then make your circles. That would be so cool. So this was definitely a quick and easy. Don't forget, I didn't post the link. Don't forget to go to, you can go to amybachman.com, click on the link to register to win the Brother Scan and Cut, right? That we're going to give it away on the 13th day of Christmas. And then Saturday, I will be participating in Embroidery Garden's Favorite Things. I'm excited about that. So I will see you there. For those of you who get the scan and cut subscription boxes or the Surger subscription boxes, amysews.com has a brand new website. I'm so excited about it. It's very easy to navigate, find what you need. And we have another super fun thing starting in, I'm probably going to start in February. We are doing applique tea towels of the month. You're going to get a paper pattern. You're going to get SVG files. So no matter what cutter you have, you're going to be able to cut it. Sharon's going to be sharing some unique, extra special kind of applique techniques. You can see the pictures on there, and then you can get on the wait list too. So we're only going to have the scan and cut box open for December, a couple more days where you can join. Jim and I are cutting in the kitchen. So we are really stretching the boundaries of what your scan and cut can do. All right, everybody, have a terrific day, because the more you know, the more you sew.